So let's get it. Critical Fox, how BO2 Zombies
It
perfect
doesn't
the
take an
difficulty.
experienced player to know that the difficulty of a game greatly affects how it will be seen to the public eye. This is no
course.
exception to the Call of Duty Zombies franchise,
Oh,
with its
I
different games
fully
and
agree.
maps. However, difficulty in the Zombies community has always been controversial due to
Yes.
very different takes many players have.
Chat, genuine question. Is Zombies too easy? One in the chat if you think Zombies is too easy right now. I'm a wonder. Modern Zombies is too easy.
Towards map and game difficulty, it's a very wide
It really is too easy. I don't know why that went to 2.
separation between those who like maps that are easier for more casual players to pick up and play without feeling forced to watch multiple Mr. Rafflewaffles guides.
For real!
And there's the other side of the spectrum, with pro players who enjoy the difficulty of more complex strategies for training and earning rewards for doing Easter eggs.
I think BO2 really has the best healthy balance of the two, because you can't have both on one map, but you can have different maps that appeal to that.
Critical Fox here. I wanted to talk about my opinion on this
get it,
matter
Critical
and how it can
Fox,
actually
baby.
be solved so both sides are happy. But as a matter of
let's
fact,
hear it.
that has
I'm
already
curious.
happened. I believe that Black Ops 2 not
Yeah.
only has the best solution to difficulty out of
See, I
every
agree.
Zombies game, but has quite nearly perfected it.
I agree.
First
I
off,
agree.
What makes good
I miss the BO2 hit system where you go up to the zombie and they don't immediately hit you, right?
casual map?
They take some time.
I think the most textbook example of a casual map is Derice. This is
Of
what
course,
is usually
yeah.
classified as bare bones.
The most
You have
casual
main
map ever.
essentials, perks, space, and pack-a-punch.
Yeah.
There's 2 wonder weapons.
Why'd
that
he put
can
the
just get by
exo zombies,
spinning the
pal?
box. The reason these maps are preferred to the majority of players is because they're much more digestible, easier to get set up in, and more focused about experimenting with everything the map gives you.
Of
To put it
course,
simply,
yep.
you make your own fun. That was one of Jimmy Zielinski's main objectives, who was the main zombie director up until the end of...
Rip Jimmy Zielinski on the Zombies projects, man. His vision was so big. I miss him so much. He literally created the perfect difficulty with the way he made the zombie mechanics, man.
Black
It was
Ops 2.
truly special.
Now, before directly talking about Black Ops 2, let me run through the contenders and how they stand with their difficulty. Games like Black Ops 3 and 4 are usually frowned upon by players who just want to get on the game with some friends and have a good time.
Yeah.
Because even just getting the pack-a-punch on most of these maps
It's a
is
whole
nearly
process.
impossible
It
if you
really
don't have
is.
the knowledge of that specific map. It doesn't
Yeah.
help that the most simple map from both of these games are initially locked behind the Season Pass paywall, which means that casual players who bought Black Ops 3 with their PS4 because they remembered how fun they had playing Kino with their friends was...
Chat, be honest with me. Were you one of those guys when you played Shadows of Evil, you're like, this map is too hard, it's too difficult? Because I think a lot of my chat was like that, even including me right at the beginning. But playing this map over and over and over again, bro, made you realize that the difficulty was worth it, bro. And that's why, I mean, you could even argue that BO3's launch kind of was tied in with BO2 because it released an easy map and a hard map, right?
Stuck with the map Shadows
But
of
then they got rid of that, really, with the DLC cycles,
Evil,
you know?
which is a really good map. Hell, it's actually my favorite
Thank you,
map
Shaw,
of all
for the
time.
prime.
But you understand why someone would drop the game after learning that they had to do a mini Oblivion quest, sacrificing people up to Cthulhu walkers and collecting magical hentai worms to deliver to a bearded man who's secretly evil, and put a giant
Yeah, but Shadows of Evil story simplified there. Like, what the heck?
squid in the sky. Just to get to Pack-a-Punch.
Just to get Pap.
I just wanted to shoot zombies with my ray gun. Shadows in
Literally.
general just wasn't a beginner-friendly map.
No,
With
it
areas and
absolutely is
perks locked
not.
behind the new Beast mode, which was similar to Afterlife mode in Mob of the Dead,
Yeah.
making casual play nearly impossible, especially with the Margot running around. Fortunately,
yeah.
if you did get the Season Pass, you got the Giant, which was just a Derice remaster. It was fun, but
I mean, chat, was anybody opposed to the Giant? I thought it was an amazing... I still think it's one of the best iterations of Derice.
it wasn't
I
original.
loved it.
But at least it was something to play.
I loved it,
It
man.
wasn't until Horizon Drag came out that there was an actual easy map for casuals, with more open areas and a relatively simple pack-a-punch, with just going around and interacting with 3 runes to unlock it. Plus,
Yeah.
getting the stutter bow wasn't that difficult or confusing.
I think they need to keep it like DE in terms of Pap. Keep the basic mechanics simplistic, but then make the Easter egg more hardcore.
Just fill up 3
right?
dragons by
I liked Vinyl Reich as well, where you had that like simplistic Easter egg and then hardcore type of Easter egg that you could run on
killing
in.
zombies in front of it.
It
and
really
pick up
did the
bow.
best
It
of
was
the
pretty
balance
good.
of that.
It actually encouraged casual players to try to get into the upgrades.
Yeah,
Suddenly,
exactly.
That Noah J. Firebow video is a little more enticing now that you got halfway there. But even
See?
if players didn't upgrade the bow,
Exactly.
it was still pretty good for a while. Enough for the quick and satisfying match, which, at the end of the day, is what many zombies players are there for. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
that was the best casual players would get for a while.
That
with
Pap
Zetsubo
Camel
and
looks
Gorod
sick.
being much less friendly to regular player.
Zetsubo's power process is more difficult than DE's power and Pap process, man. It's crazy because, yeah, he is right. So many maps like flip flop on difficulty. You need a healthy
You
balance.
can make an argument for
right?
Revelations, but I believe it's in a bit of a gray area.
Yeah.
Sure, Pack-a-Punch
Rev
isn't
is
that confusing,
kinda
but there's
whatever.
always so much going on, especially with enemy variety, that it could pose as too much. But at least Zombie Chronicles was good.
Yeah.
Lots of casual maps from many of the older games were brought to Black Ops 3, which definitely made it more enticing than ever to buy the bundle and play. But at the end of the day, those were remasters from other games, and they usually felt better to...
Chat, I'm saying it. Zombies Chronicles released for $30. I guarantee you, if they do Zombies Chronicles 2, they would price it at $50 or just price it as a whole new game, right? Price it literally at $60. I'm telling you, chat, they would double the price. One in the chat if you agree.
play on
They
the
would.
respective games and
Easily.
engines, which are suited for those maps. Plus, many of the weapons, which are a big part of a map's identity, were lost, leaving a strange taste whenever playing them. Despite all
true.
of that, though, Black Ops 3 managed to be a fan favorite for the vocal fan base, with the more casual players feeling very neutral for at least having older maps they knew. The mechanics of Black Ops 3 were very similar to the previous two games, so there isn't much to complain about there.
Except really for the hit system. The hit system on BO3 is so fast. Like, you can get instantly 5 hit in BO3, whereas in BO2, you don't really get the hits. Like, when you get hit, they're gradual hits. The zombies sort of pause and take their time to hit you, which in my opinion makes more sense.
Which leaves
You know?
the main reason of fault being...
Guys, you know, if Fortnite never existed, Call of Duty would be 10 times better. See, I agree because live service came in, but it's mainly Activision's fault. I've said this before. It's not live service that's the problem. It's the way COD took live service and put out quadruple the amount of content, or they put out half the content for quadruple the price.
not
Right?
much variety
That's
of
where
complex and simple
I think they
maps.
failed.
Black Ops 4 was much worse, with even more complex maps and practically zero casual maps.
Yeah.
Not even the 5 remake could stay simple. Plus, all the new perk mechanics and created class wasn't liked that much by, well, anyone.
I agree. BO4 was just overall way too complicated.
They even
way
added
too
difficulty settings to the
complicated.
game, but they didn't help as much as desired due to all Easter eggs on the casual difficulty being disabled,
Yeah.
and pack-a-punching not becoming any simpler. If, for example, the
BO4 is a great game for people to watch what casuals will never play. Like, the only real casual zombies map is 9, like Sprix is saying in the chat. It is the only simplistic map in Black Ops 4. Every single other map of BO4 is extremely complicated.
pack-a-punch was given something like objective markers, or even just straight up
True.
unlocking.
And then they did that. They fixed that with Cold War. Class 5, boys, I'm going to be honest, is pretty difficult. Like, you have to find 3 very obscure parts to build the telepad to then get to PAP. It's it's not as simple as it is on 5, where you hit all 5 switches and you're there. I kind of wish they kept it like that on Classified, to be honest.
After a round or
It
map
is a little
milestone,
harder.
the difficulty setting would have at least felt more useful and integral to the game.
Yeah.
How is Black Ops 2 any different? When the game launched, you had Transit, the bigger, more
the
important
birds in the background.
failure, kinda.
Yeah.
It was a more complex package with buildables, different locations, and an abysmal pack-a-punch system. Though it wasn't liked by most, it still fits that role of an on-disc main map.
Chat, I'm going to be honest. The BO2 Zombies launch would have been a failure if Town didn't exist. One in the chat if you agree. The simplistic map of Transit is Town. And that's why I genuinely believe when most people played Black Ops 2, they will remember Town over Transit. Legit.
But
Like, that
with the
has
stroke
to
of
have been
genius,
the
most
way
likely
they
from
saved
devs
the launch
realizing
of this
that
game.
Transit isn't going to be as loved as they anticipated, made 3 extra survival maps for the rest of the areas of
Exactly,
Transit. Town,
yeah.
Farm, and Bus Depot were all available as survival maps. With
I hope they go back to this with zombie maps. Like, this is the thing with Outbreak, right? They release a big mode, but they don't do this BO2 zombies aspect where they can split up the Outbreak areas and play them as certain survival maps. And obviously, to do that, you would need to make a good Outbreak map first, which is what I really hope happens for COD Gulf War in 2024.
with differing amounts of
But
content. Bus Depot
this
was as
style
bare
was
bones
perfect.
as it gets, with just a few wall weapons and a mystery box.
Yeah.
Farm had the box and the main 4 perks, and Town had the most.
Still the coolest map selector. Chat, I low-key might be bringing this back on Fortnite, so thank you.
With 6 perks available, a box with 2 locations, and a pack-a-punch. This move was genius, because these map selections were essentially a casual map difficulty selector. How many extra features would you like helping you? Do you want to feel weak and could die at any point? Play some Bus Depot. Want some classic Shinonuma style fun? Farm is there.
See, that it's so true. Transit literally had every form of bare bones survival. Like, you can literally see in the way they had the original trailer. They were trying to advertise that, and it was incredible. They did a really good job with that.
But usually the player base stuck to Town, which isn't that surprising given that it has the most features of the survival maps.
Pap.
Town is essentially what kept Black Ops 2 going at the beginning of its life cycle.
Hey, for the 5
but that wasn't all there was at
Love
Black
the
Ops
videos.
2's
Appreciate you, bro.
If you pre-ordered Black Ops 2 or later on bought the DLC for $5, you also got Nuketown Zombies.
Legend,
to this day, this map is greatly disliked by majority. But I believe...
Okay, chat. Nuketown from BO2. 1 in the chat if you like it, 2 in the chat if you're a hater. I'm a hater, number 2. But I'm gonna be honest, man, like, I think people do always make a great point for Nuketown being a great mode for difficulty. It's just a map. I know it's just a map, but it's just like the difficulty is interesting. What's up, Skizzle, man? How's it going, bro?
It's an important pillar of Black Ops 2's difficulty.
It is. I do agree with this. The Smith Plays Pat always described this map to me in the best way possible, and that is Nuketown Zombies is the combat training of zombies. It literally is. You load in, you don't know what you're going to get with your different perks, you just play, see how far you can get, see if you can get all the way until Jug and Pap drop, and then that's it, man. It really is.
Around 2 years ago, the Smith Plays was
exactly
Zombies retrospective series.
Yes, my boy.
On Black Ops 2, he made a great point.
Yes.
So as a standalone, Nuketown,
my boy Pat, he's here. Let's go. I didn't expect him to throw it in.
Is understandably forgettable, and it's only really when you add it to the entire Black Ops 2 lineup where it not only begins to shine, but also brings up the overall quality of Black Ops 2 Zombies.
Chat, and this is why I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. 2 maps is the best way to launch a zombies game. 1 in the chat if you agree. 4 is too many. 1 is not enough. 2 is perfect. Because you have 1 experience that's extremely complicated, and you have 1 experience that's very casual. This has worked with BO2, with Transit and Nuketown. This has also worked with Shadows, with BO3 with Shadows of Evil and the Giant. I think it's perfect. I think it's perfect. 3 for BO1. Dead Ops Arcade doesn't necessarily count, but even BO1 did it as well. BO1 is a little bit more interesting, because I would say Kino's the simplistic map, whereas 5 is the more complicated map, but they're still very easy.
Right? This is because Nuketown adds range.
There's some...
Pat is spitting, man. Chat, 1 in chat if you missed the retrospectives. Oh, man. Pat, come back, bro. Come back, Patrice.
Easier maps, harder maps, simple and complex maps.
Yes.
Just because something was easy doesn't mean it was simple. Just because something was difficult doesn't mean it's complex.
That's interesting. That's a great point, because difficulty does not equate to complexity. Because, for example, I would say that the Voyage of Despair Easter egg is it's very difficult, but it's not because it's actually difficult in a skill way. It's just too complex, right? So he makes a great point.
There is no Easter eggs you have to do for anything.
That's true. So this is a simplistic yet difficult map, whereas Voyage, I would say, is a complex yet simple map.
The layout of the map is so crammed and tight that it doesn't need it to be tough. The only form of complexity is knowing where the perks are going to drop, which sort of puts it in the middle ground of complexity. Every time someone asks me how to get better at training in smaller spots, I always recommend Nuketown, because it's simple and helps you learn to survive less than ideal situations.
I agree. This is, honestly, out of all the zombie maps that I've played, this is the best zombies map to learn the mechanics of zombies.
Love this videos.
Right?
Thank you so much for your reactions, because you actually add your opinions
and
don't just stare at a screen.
I always get people that get upset about my reactions.
Came up with it back in BO1.
I appreciate
Dempsey
it.
Lover.
Let's go. Freak bag from Dempsey. No, I don't like reacting and just sitting and watching. No, I love to get my input, especially with zombies, because there's so much of a catalog of COD zombies that I find I've just wasted so many years learning about this that I wish I could give you guys like all the information that I can, you know, and I try to. So
you rely less on chatters, because you can either get on round 5 or 15. You get better at recognizing what you can do in such small areas, how close you can get to zombies, how to manipulate their pathing to your needs, because you need to in order to get to higher rounds.
Yeah.
With Nuketown on the difficult with middle complexity side of the chart, you can start slotting in the other maps and other parts.
I like this chart that he made. He's gonna basically like diagram it like a complete graph to see where it all goes. I'm curious where he's gonna see it. I don't personally agree with that Nuketown placement. I would put Nuketown as like it's difficult yet simplistic. I don't know.
The complete opposite, easy but complex, you have Buried, with lots of different strategies that work pretty well.
That's true.
Great wonder weapons and ideas, but you don't need to do everything to have fun. It's easy to get to high rounds while still having things to do around the map.
So I see. It is easy and complex, whereas this is easy but hard in terms of the difficulty. And chat, in my opinion, Black Ops 2 did spacing, I think, better than any other zombies game. And what I mean by spacing is that the reason why this map is so much more difficult than Buried is because of how little space you get. Which is why I just inherently think that big open world modes for zombies just don't work. They don't work, you know?
For hard and complex, there's Origins, with an insane amount of things to do, both a difficult map layout with the mud and the pins you're sold out to deal with. But you also have the staffs, which feel almost necessary to survive.
No, it's true. Origins is complex and hard. If you don't look up a Milo guide, you'll never be able to play this map.
For a long time. True. For something complex, but in the middle of the difficulty scale, is Mob the
Dead,
which has a similar type of upgrades as Origins, but barely any of them feel.
I think this is the sweet spot for map creation. A lot more casuals like Mob over Origins, because while Mob did add a lot of cool new mechanics, it wasn't Mr. Raffle Waffles guides 10 on your freaking Google Chrome page, like 10 tabs, you know? You don't need that much. You can just learn it by playing. So I think this is like the sweet spot. You want simplistic yet complex eggs. Mob really did the best out of all of the maps, I would say.
Required, as you can just train in the cafeteria with the sweeper. Something easy but with mid-range complexity, you have Transit.
Unfortunately.
And the 3 survival derivatives being put in their respective places on the simple side.
That's cool. Wait, hold on. Let's go back to that. So he had Bus Depot here, Farm as simple, complex, and then Town as simple but also difficult, right? I see. Wow, this is a really interesting way of diagramming out the difficulty of BO2. Because, yeah, you couldn't do this with Black Ops 3. Every BO2 map hits a different type of range, which is why Pat was saying
respective places on the simple side. Funny enough, Dire-Res would go in the middle.
In the middle.
But it makes sense. It's not that difficult, but also not a cakewalk with doing stuff isn't that complicated, but the layout is confusing.
Wow.
The reason I went off about the whole chart thing is because I believe that is the best way to separate difficulty.
I agree.
The problem with a game like Cold War is that every map feels easy due to how Cold War systems work.
Going back to this diagram as a reference, I would say Cold War is all in this bottom left corner. It's easy and simple. There is nothing complex about Cold War. Whereas Black Ops Cold War is right here in easy, simple. Yet Black Ops Black Ops 4 is up in here. Complex and hard. All the maps are up here where Origins is. And Black Ops Cold War is here. And it's like, this is not good. I think the sweet spot that Call of Duty really needs to aim for is complex yet simple. Mob the Dead. This spot right here is the sweet spot.
It's not that difficult, but also not a game like Cold War, is that every map feels easy due to how Cold War systems work as a whole. You have no perk limit, which is fine, but add that on top of the infinite self-revives and safety score streaks, the powerful field upgrades, and the absolutely broken armor system, which I could make a whole video about.
I agree. Armor, chat, armor or shield. Armor is not it, bro.
And things are so incredibly easy that the only way the devs could counter it later down the DLC cycle was to shove every single boss in the game down your throat.
Exactly, bro. This is why I don't like boss spam, because it doesn't feel like when you die that you deserve to die like in the older games. Boss spam just means you're going to take more damage, which just means inevitably you could just down whenever, right? I agree. The mitigation of difficulty in modern COD zombies is not the proper way to do it. You can't just boss spam an overpowered mechanic.
Throughout to show that the game is difficult. Everything in Cold War is system-based, so every item and weapon and perk is in every map, stopping a huge ton of map variety into gameplay. That's why you see no one play Firebase C.
This guy's spitting, bro. He's got facts. I don't like Firebase Z. Chat, legit, when was the last time y'all played Firebase? It's been a minute for me.
It's not a terrible map. It's pretty cool, actually. But nearly every feature in Firebase C was pushed into the rest of the maps or Outbreak in some way, making revisiting it useless.
Yeah, mimics don't even have an identity with Firebase Z anymore. They were spammed in Outbreak. They're spammed in Modern Warfare 3. Yeah, I agree. It just muddles the identity of what Cold War was.
When you artificially inflate maps with every feature in the game, it gets boring because you can have everything in the game at once.
Chat, I saw Expert Fusion make a great tweet about this. Boys, I'm going to say it. They need to remove the trial system. The trial system in Cold War was on every single map, and it ruined the flavor of every map. It took away the identity of it. That's the issue with Cold War. They just spam the same mechanics, man.
So what's the point in playing the other maps?
Exactly.
Not only does this not help difficulty, but makes your game less replayable.
Yes,
There's a reason to play almost every map on Black Ops 2. With the exception of maybe 2 survival maps, every single map has unique features. Perks like Tombstone, Who's Who, and Vulture's Aid.
And exclusive weapons, bro. Chat, I can't name you literally any exclusive weapons on Cold War, on any of the maps. But on Black Ops 2, instantly, Nuketown, M27, Buried, LSAT, right? Or Remington New Model Army. Origins, Scorpion Evo, KSG, the Scar, Die Rise, the SVU, right? Like, it has identity, you know? It even on BO3 had that. Like Zetsubo, you got the dual wheel shotguns, the Marshalls, right? Shadows, you have the bootlegger, right? They need to go back to that. Even just 1 or 2 unique weapon maps, man. I think ultimately it boils down to the problematic nature of Warzone systems being put into zombies, man. That's the thing.
All in their respective Victus map.
Yes.
With Electric Cherry being in Mob of the Dead.
They need to get away from that, bro. This copy and pasting of assets. Chat, if I see a Mimic, a Mangler, or a Disciple in Call of Duty 2024, I'm genuinely going to cry. Those 3 enemies just need to go away. They need to go away.
In Origins, the only new wonder weapon that gets put in more than one map is the Reagan Mark II.
Yes.
And even then, the map it comes from, Buried, has another wonder weapon specific to the map. The same can be said about maps that had any special enemies, but I think you get the point. In the end, Black Ops 2 did not cut corners. Sure, not everything worked out as it was intended, but they still managed to bring the widest variety with maps I play more than any other game. I'm sure it's obvious, but I have a bias to Black Ops 2. Sure,
range.
Not everything worked.
No, bro, BO2 had range, man. It had range, and bro, there were barely any new boss zombies in BO2. You had Brutus, you had the Witches, you had the Panzer, and Die Rise didn't have any new boss. That was it. And they still cook. There's still identity in BO2.
COD game to
Crazy.
date. Not just zombies, but in general. And I hope this video can bring some unappreciated maps to light.
For real,
If you liked the video, please let me know by liking and hitting the subscribe button. This is my first attempt at a video like this. It takes a lot of work.
Please, Critical Fox, I'm subbing to you. You need to make more videos. This is a phenomenal video. This is a 2-year-old video almost. Oh my gosh. Bro was literally speaking the future into existence. This was pre-Vanguard and pre-Modern Warfare 3. And how right this video was.